This is the Hawaiian Ti plant. It actually originated from Southeast Asia and the Polynesian islands and was brought to Hawaii. There's all different kinds of wonderful cultivars. This one, I believe, is it's called the Florida Ti. It does well in part shade to actually even full sun. So this one I have right next to my kind of hide my drain spout here. I planted it right there. I would, however, not suggest doing this, especially if you have a French drain system like this, because after time the roots can actually go down and cause some problems with that French drain. I'm actually dealing with that right now. So just try to remember to plant your plants a little bit farther away from your house. It's good for um, many reasons, but you don't want roots and things troubling your foundation, so, or any draining systems that you have. So just think of that when you're planting. But anyway, this is a very beautiful plant. I love the color. I mean, usually plants are a lot of, green and the flower, but this one has so many wonderful colors. Um, and this is very, very easy to propagate. So once you get one plant in your yard, you can let it grow. You can manage the height and the shape of this plant super easy without causing too much trouble to it. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to trim one, and I'm going to show you how to propagate it and then how to plant it. So I'm going to just grab one of these that's kind of coming into the walkway here again. So you can see down here, I'm just going to try to cut it down close to where it's beat off. Just so, yeah, like that. So you can see here, there was a cut here before, and then this sprouted up. So there was a cut before, and it regrows there. So that's all you do with that. When you do cut it, then you can just take off any leaves that are getting brown. Now this can happen if there's too much fertilizer or too much water sometimes. Now if you're growing this inside, I live in zone 9, 10, so I'm able to grow these subtropical plants outside. But if you're using these inside of your house, you don't need a lot of light, so it can be, it doesn't have to be in direct sun, but you want to make sure you don't water with your city water. And if you're going to water from your tap water, you're going to want to let it sit overnight in a plastic 5-gallon bucket or a watering can. The fluoride in the water can make these leaves get brown. So can be one of the issues that you might find. This one I think is getting brown because this, like I said, this French drain was broken and we got too much water. So that can also be a problem. So we're going to take that one in the back. But then I'm just going to leave that here. But all you have to do to just manage these guys is when these leaves are getting like this, they're just taking energy from the plant. So you just peel them off. Peel them off. You don't need a special clippers or anything. Just use your hands. That one's a seed pod. So all the dried stuff, you just pull them off. Real easy. Light maintenance. And this plant doesn't seem to bother my hands too much. So even when you're walking across here and you see one, you can grab it off and take it. So we're going to go to the back. I'm going to show you what I would do with this next. All right, so this is one of the pieces that I just stuck in the ground. So you can see if you don't have a way if you don't want to root them, you can try to stick them in the ground and see if they take. It may work or it may not. This one did work. So you can see it's sending up some new things. It's green right now, but it will turn this nice burgundy color once it matures a little bit. So what I did the same time was I took one and just put it in a wine bottle full of water. So I wanted to establish some roots before I put it in the ground. So you can see this is what the roots look like. All right. You can see this top part died off and it sent up two two new things. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut, without getting the new one, I'm just going to cut that off. So this is going to be a new plant right here. I'm going to plant it kind of close to this one. I'm trying to fill this area in. So we will plant that. Probably should have done that first. I don't want these roots in the sun. All right. So this, I'm just going to kind of go straight down a little bit. Make sure I'm not in my irrigation line. Now, being that this doesn't have, a big root ball, I'm kind of lucky that way. It's pretty easy to plant. Want to make sure my roots are covered. Might want to go a little bit deeper. Getting into some rock. All right. So I'm going to put a little bit of this in there. And put that back in there. This is just a mix of some peat moss and some cow manure. That'll just kind of help it a little bit. But I can use the same stuff. Just pack it down. Make sure those roots are covered. Usually we have lots of mulch in here, so just mulch it up. And that's it. Just make sure you water any plant that you put in the ground. It helps take any air pockets out, and it helps them they're shock and transplant. So the water helps them kind of stabilize their roots and grow. So water it in. So how I got this was by taking this and simply you kind of look at it and see if there's any natural bumps coming up, and I try to get just under one of those. You want to have at least 6 inches, and then you take off all the lower leaves because these take water. So the water's constantly pulling up. So you don't want to dehydrate the plant. So I usually leave about three of them, maybe 2. You want to look here and see how much you're going to break it. So I'm going to leave it right there. You do that, and then you cut the leaves. Takes up too much water, but you want to have them photosynthesizing a little bit so that you get root growth. And then I just set these on my porch. It doesn't even really get too much direct sun, and I just leave them, keep checking on them, change the water, and once the roots are set like that, then I just throw them in the ground. That's how you propagate a Thai plant. They're beautiful. They're fun to share. They're fun to add that lovely burgundy color into your yard. So I encourage you to give it a try. Keep growing.